It's time to talk about a cornerstone of democracy, local news. Welcome to a conversation about the state of rural community journalism. I'm Kyle Munson, president of the Western Iowa Journalism Foundation, a new nonprofit with a mission to ensure long-term access to accurate local news and investigative reporting. We're helping to maintain community newsrooms that know and treat their audiences as their neighbors. And I'm pleased to have the opportunity to sit down today with three experienced Western Iowa editors who epitomize this grassroots journalism. Art Cullen, editor of the Storm Lake Times. Lorena López, editor of LaPrensa, based in Denison. And Doug Burns, editor of the Carroll Times Herald. So thanks to all of you for being here today. This is such an important conversation, and you are such important figures in all of your communities. Any other ideas, Doug? What has happened to the trust in news? And I mean, do you feel like your readers trust you still?
I really think they do. As we were driving here, I had a conversation with the CEO of St. Anthony Regional Hospital, which is our local hospital. It serves a multi-county area. And you know, we have a locally owned paper, family operated, so we put more resources into the paper where actually we continue to lose money. I think we've been losing money for 5 to 7 years. But the conversation I was having with the hospital CEO was our vaccination rates have, over the last several months, have tracked about 10% higher than in the average in Iowa and than most counties. And I think a big reason for that is people trust the local hospital and they trust the local media, and that's us. So we've worked very hard to gain that, and when the pandemic broke out, you know, we made our information on the coronavirus available for free. We also created a restaurant guide and tried to, you know, lift restaurant delivery guide and takeout guide to lift some of the struggling small businesses. So one reason I think we're trusted is we celebrate people's successes and we write about their dreams. If somebody opens a new business, we're there. If there's a local person from our community has gone on to do well somewhere else, you know, we celebrate that. And in a world that is cynical and in a news cycle that, you know, too often is generated from New York and DC, you know, we tell the good stories too.
Yeah, building that trust. Lorena, you were talking earlier about helping combat that misinformation and disinformation with your readers, and you know, they can turn to you as a trusted source. Mm-hmm. Are there other ways that you see that your readers trust you, or do you feel like it's harder now to earn that trust because of everything that's going on?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. They trust me because they know that each time LaPrensa talk about immigration, about health, about economic, about the pandemic, you know, about the issues that are happening in our small communities, they call and they are my sources. Mm-hmm. So they know that when they come and they talk about that meat plant, you know, that is offering something, and after they don't give to the employees what they are offering, they come to me or they text me or they give me that anonymous call, or and they say this and this is happening. They promise something, and you know, and they mention whatever they promise, and so that are, to me, is a proof that the community, the Latino community, need a Spanish newspaper that is free, that don't have subscribe, you know, it's not by subscription, and that support the paper. This paper is support by advertising. Advertising is getting horrible, not just for us, you know, for everybody, for all the newspaper, for the social media. But it's very tough also, Kyle, when I go to see a business and that business say, you know what, go to sell to your hometown. So it's very, very tough to hear comments like that, because it's not social media also, but it's also some customers, you know, that they don't like to advertising in a free newspaper because they take Latinos as a grant that they're going to come to their business no matter what. So, yeah, yo creo que salí de la, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's good. So, being there for your community in times of crisis and celebrating it, and that, connection to your readers, trusted information. There's another thing that Doug was talking about earlier, Art, about challenging your local audience. And that's something that you're well known for, obviously, winning a Pulitzer for your editorials. How does that play into notions of trust with your audience? Having to challenge them very strongly, but also be there to do all these other things in community journalism that we're talking about.
I think most reasonable people appreciate a strong point of view that's backed up by facts, and so I think having an assertive editorial voice actually builds credibility, in my opinion. There's a lot of people who we take a decidedly liberal point of view, and Buena Vista County is, deep red territory, but at least it's interesting to read a different point of view. It's interesting for me to read the Wall Street Journal's editorials, to rebut my own thinking, and so I think that helps build credibility and trust in the community when you're challenging people's thinking.
And when they can walk down the street and confront you about your opinion,
right,
if they'd like to as well.
I'm always tempted to be sarcastic, bordering on snarky, to the extent that I can hold that in abeyance, I think people appreciate a well-reasoned argument, even if it doesn't go their direction.
Yeah. I love that. I hope so. I agree. So, all right, instead of directing a question, I'm just going to let one of you jump in to this. I just want to know what makes you proud to publish a story or to put out a day's newspaper. What is it? How would you characterize that feeling of pride when you know that you've done your job well? Somebody jump in.
Well, for me is that no matter the circumstance that we are working right now as a newspaper, the paper survives, we are still going out and see the readers that they pick that paper, that they read it, that they comment, that they send you a text about some story, that they like it. So
feedback
that
from your
made
audience.
the feedback, I think, is the most important. I think that without the feedback from my readers, I don't think LaPrensa will be what is today. Yeah. So that made me very, very proud, very happy, and very grateful. Yeah. Yes.
Doug, is there a moment for you that you're filled with pride?
When we do stories that are deeply tied to Carroll, that's one thing that I think our paper provides, because it's been in my family since 1929, that I really know the history of Carroll very well, and so does my family. So when we're able to do stories on a prominent person from Carroll who passes away, it's really an honor to be able to run a page one obituary that describes that person's life, that person's contributions, and I generally know that person very well. Or when we're able to elevate a voice, we don't just go to the official sources. I like to find people in the community that maybe they're overlooked, and so to give somebody a voice that hasn't had a voice in the community, or to help people in 2021 tie their lives and their activities to something that happened in 1940 or 1950 or even earlier.
Yeah. Art, is there something for you? I mean, there are probably moments when I've written a killer editorial, but is something else that really fills you with pride?
Well, like Lorena, it's the simplest of things. When I see somebody buying a copy of the Times at the newsstand, I get a complete thrill out of that. I want to go up and hug them and kiss them. And
after the pandemic.
Right. And I think that's what really does it for me, is when I see somebody buying the newspaper, and or you actually see somebody reading the newspaper in a cafe or someplace, and they're on the editorial page, and they're reading your column, and you just go, wow, there's actually somebody does read my column. That's amazing. That's a great feeling.
Thanks for joining us and supporting independent local journalism in your own community. For more information about the Western Iowa Journalism Foundation, please visit our website at westerniowatournalismfoundation.com. Sign up there for our newsletter and also follow us across social media. Please remember, there's no community without community journalism.